What's that? They're plugging in.
Let's do that. The Cult of Hockey podcast. By the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you tonight?
Good. I had forgotten to plug in a cord at the start of the podcast, so that rustling around and panic look on my face was about that. So hopefully is the sound okay at your end? Last time I did it started to get a little weird. The sound got a little weird.
How's my sound at your end?
You're a little quiet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll push my mic back a bit.
All right, mic issue, I think.
So we meet tonight on the event of the Oilers' 6-3 victory over the Nashville Predators. Bruce, it was a game that the Predators wanted to lose more than the Oilers wanted to lose it, which is saying something, given how many chances the Oilers gave to the Predators to get back into this thing, to get up early and then to get back into it. But the Oilers' absolutely sublime skill of their top line paid off. I'll just quickly go through the scoring numbers of the top line. Hyman, 3 goals and an assist. Draisaitl, 2 goals and 3 assists, playing against the Washington Generals. His personal Washington Generals. Connor McDavid, 1 goal and 3 assists. There was a amazing performance by the top line, which we're going to get into. This is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. And because it was a big night for the big line, we're going to go with 2.5 good things. And as soon as Bruce is back, he's back. Bruce, why don't do you want to start it off with your good thing?
Yeah, might as well go with big man Leon Draisaitl. Talk about he had 5 more points tonight. Are you hearing me okay?
If you get a little closer to the mic, maybe it's still a little.
Yeah, this mic is dead, so I'm speaking, I think, to the computer. So
okay, you have to get close then. It does help when you get close. I can hear you a lot better when you're close to that computer.
Well, the computer's way over here, so hopefully that's a bit better. So
yeah, that's a bit better.
If it's not, we should start again.
Okay. No, it's good.
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right. Sorry, folks. My microphone's giving me issues these days.
We've got to fire our sound techs, Bruce.
Both of them.
They should walk the plank together.
Yeah. Anyway, Leon had a second 5-point game of the season, both of them against Nashville Predators, his personal whipping boys, who he's now scored 20 goals and 10 assists in his last 10 games against them. They must be sick of the sight of the guy. But I'll just focus on his 2 goals, both of them lethal shots. One on a late first period power play. And special shout out here to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who's really starting to specialize on this cross-ice pass now. That's not just coming from McDavid, but also Nuge is doing this cross-the-seam pass, and he's finding the seam, and then he's finding Leon at the other end of it. And, of course, Leon is finding the net with regularity, as he has done for years. And there was... Nuge made 2 passes like this in the recent game, 2 different power play goals. I think that was against the Habs maybe, but or was it even the Wild on Friday night? And then tonight another beauty, and Leon lashed it home to make it 3-1. 5 seconds to go in the first period, a real killer goal that established Edmonton's lead. And then in the second period, and Nashville scored early in the second to cut the lead to 3-2, and within, it seemed like seconds, I guess it was 57 seconds, and the Oilers broke out, and 3 guys sort of won battles, or at least made plays to chip the puck forward within Edmonton territory. And they got the puck to Draisaitl at about the Edmonton blue line, and he just charged up the ice came in on the left wing, and because he was going so fast, his usual wrist shot added the extra momentum of his speed on the ice, and it just ripped past the goalie, Kevin Lankinen, bulged the twine and came flying back out at the same speed. What just a rocket of a wrist shot to reestablish the 2-goal lead. And ultimately, that was the one that stood up as the game winner. Leon's 8th game-winning goal of the season through 30 games. He's got 8 game winners, 3 more than any other NHLer. And two examples of his lethal shot. And then, of course, he got assists in various ways on 3 other goals for just another night of owning the Nashville Predators.
The Predators, Bruce, they used to be such a going concern against the Oilers, right? Like they'd play Nashville, and it was almost like the Wild. It was almost like guaranteed loss night. But that has changed in the last little while. And right from the start of the game, even when the Oilers got down one, I was thinking, man, the Oilers are kind of slicing through this team. Nashville seems loose on defense. They don't seem able to stop this Oilers team. And I wasn't surprised at the end of the first one. It was 3-1 because Edmonton was fairly dominant. Now, in the end, the grade A shots were 14-13 for the Oilers, and the 5 alarm shots were 9-7 for the Oilers. So, not such a margin in the grade A shots. Lankinen had one of those nights where he didn't look bad necessarily on any of the goals against, or not many of them, maybe one, but he needed to make more saves. He needed to come up big. Good luck with that, though. It's interesting. Like the executioner shot that Draisaitl got off at the end of the first period was an all-time classic. Even for that kind of shot, it was kind of like the archetype of that shot. And you're right, Nuge is finding that pass. Just think what a nightmare it is for the opposing teams, because McDavid can do it. Finally we stopped him from making the crossing, and then it goes to Nuge. And I like actually when Nuge is in the McDavid goes down the wing, and he's the threat. He can't make it, so then he puts it in the high slot to Nugent Hopkins, who can either shoot or set up Draisaitl for the executioner shot. Oh. That is a great play that they have going on. Anyway, I was trying to explain to my wife, like she was asking me, like, why does he go down on one knee to shoot that? And like, what's the purpose? And I don't have an answer. Like, I don't think that's very common. Like, who else has that kind of shooting stride and style? Maybe anyone? Like, who else shoots the puck like that?
I've seen that. No, I'm just trying to think who does it consistently. Gets down and gets leverage on the puck from getting down on it, and sometimes even to get under the shot a little bit and get it upstairs. I've seen players who do this. I'm just struggling to think of one right off the top of my head who sort of trademarked it, but Leon does get down there to get behind and even, a little bit of underneath leverage on the shot to get it.
Yeah.
That one went right up into the roof of the net. I mean, good luck stopping that one.
It may help you launch it, right? Get it up high, right? And top shelf where Mama keeps the cookies, as Jim Fleming says. So he that's part of it, right? That's one of the reasons he would do that, I guess. And more bend of the stick, right? Like you can get a little bit more bend of the stick as you're pushing it harder on the ice if you're lower against the ice. So that might be another reason. Anyway, what an amazing shot. And that was a beauty. That was an all-time beauty for the executioner shot. My good thing, Bruce, Connor McDavid's goal, the 5th goal of the game, big goal because they were up 4-3. And, one of the ways Nashville indicated that they wanted to lose this game was by letting in a goal with a few seconds left in the first period and with a minute left in the second period, McDavid's goal. And he just shot up the ice. And there was 2 specific moves where he dangled the puck first to the side, and then he pulled it back and shot, which were kind of all-time Deke maneuvers. They were so swift, so deft. and so thrilling. Like, honestly, thrilling for someone who tries to stick handle the puck themselves now and then. It's so glorious to see an absolute master of that art. So easily, effortlessly, eyes up, head up, not looking at the puck. Pull off those moves. His handling of the puck is, I guess what comes to mind is some of the basketball wizards with the basketball. Over the Magic Johnson, some players like that who are just absolutely fantastic with with the ball and making that dazzling with it. And that's how it is with the puck. In terms of stick handlers over time, I mean, he's bringing back in a way, Bruce, because it's hard to stick handle around players now in the NHL. They're also good, technically gifted, fundamentally sound defenders who can all skate. So it's hard to teach these guys, but he just does it consistently. And he's in some ways he is in a league of his own in terms of that skill. And that fifth goal was that was a prime example that we've of course we've seen many such prime examples, but that was the latest one.
I think, was that Matthias Ekholm that he victimized there?
I don't know if that was, who's really, Cale Makar is the only other player I've seen in his own way who is as deft with the puck as McDavid, and I don't in a different way. I don't know if he's quite the stick handler. He's very darn precise with that puck though, Makar. He's a demon with it. But anyone else in that league right now, even like close?
For the old Dipsy.
Yeah. Oh, you're cutting out there. I hear that static sound again. As if your microphone's trying to work, but not quite working.
The mic, and it seems
now it's working.
Okay, I'll try not to touch it anymore.
It's working.
Okay. I mean, you want to talk about deft with the stick? I mean, Draisaitl is very deft with the stick, but not really in that same way of one-on-one stick handling. He can beat people one-on-one occasionally, but it's not. He'd rather beat you with a pass. But McDavid, when he gets going like that, I mean, this was both the last-minute goals, by the way, were power play goals in a game that the Oilers went 2 for 2 with 2 shots. In 1 minute, 17 seconds, Draisaitl took a shot and scored, and McDavid took a shot and scored. And meanwhile, Nashville had 5 power plays, 8 minutes and 34 seconds, including then plus the 43-second 5-on-3, no goals. So this was a huge part of the game tonight. And those were examples of different ways the Oilers' power play could beat you. And tonight their penalty kill beat them as well. So that was big. But yeah, that's stick handling. No, I would say McDavid's number 1, and Makar is number 1 among defensemen. But I'll take McDavid against Makar in that particular art.
I was trying to think of historical players like McDavid, and the one guy that popped in my head instantly, Bruce, is, and he's a lesser version, obviously, because there's only one McDavid, but Gilbert Perreault.
It's pretty high lesser, but yes.
Yeah.
He was quite happy to come at you 1-on-1 or 1-on-2 and put
so fast.
Your feet and
same kind of like, because Lafleur isn't like McDavid. He's a different kind of player.
Right.
And Harlamov, different. Modano, different. It's different kind of player. Although Modano's kind of in that Modano Perreault, David kind of idea, but.
Yeah, of course Gretzky, but he had his own. Yeah. He had his own way of doing things, but making defensemen look silly was very much in his arsenal.
Oh, that's for sure. Gretzky was just such a trickster. There was only one, right? There can only be one. Gretzky. He was just such a unique hockey player. He played hockey in a way, McDavid plays it in some ways like no one's ever played it before, but it was on the conceptual level that Gretzky played the game differently than other players, whereas McDavid's skill level is so much higher. But it's the same skills that we've always seen. They're just at this high level. So
yeah, I've never seen another Gretzky that thinks the game the same way. Like he was just a genius in his own right. And when he went away, it was like Bobby Fischer retiring, from chess. There just wasn't going to be another one. No matter how advanced the game became, there wasn't going to be another one. And I'll say
What's
the
that?
same about Wayne Gretzky.
What's that great Igor Dimitrov quote about Gretzky?
Oh yeah,
Haiku.
yeah. I love it's the found haiku. He comes from nowhere, he passes to nobody, and a goal is scored.
I love that line. I could hear that every day of my life. It's my favorite
I
hockey
saw it and
line.
I went, hey, that's a haiku, 575. Wow, it's perfect. It's even got sort of the surprise in the last line if you don't really know where it's going, and a goal is scored. Why, yes, it is.
It just so summarizes Gretzky's game,
Mm-hmm.
the way he played hockey. All right. Our point five good thing, because we can't forget this.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Hyman, and all of his goals were kind of gritty goals. They were Zach Hyman like goals.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just start with the first one. It was Evan Bouchard made a really nice play. He kind of did a hard slap pass to the side of the net, and Hyman uh, ramped his stick, got his stick acting as a ramp, and ramped it up over the goalie on a deflection. So that was Hyman's first goal. Zach Hyman's now sits. Where
Hi.
is he in terms of NHL scoring? I just was looking this up. He is Nugent Hopkins is 18th. Nugent Hopkins is tied for 15th with Alex Ovechkin, Steve Stamkos, Jack Hughes, Elias Pettersson, and Roop Hinson, Nathan McKinnon. And Zach Hyman is tied for 22nd. He's got 33 points along with William Nylander, Mika Zibanejad, and Rasmus Dahlin. So the Oilers are
Pretty good player. 4 guys with 30 points in 30 games, eh?
amazing. Like this is a team that's got some good, really good players, and if they can get some goaltending, um, they'll do okay. All right, Bruce. Hyman's second goal. Oh, your voice. You must have wiggled the sound.
Go for the second goal as
There we
well.
go.
And I'll take the empty netter.
Oh, the second goal was he was just jamming. What happened? He jammed the puck at the net and just kept jamming at it. It was a rebound off a Draisaitl shot, I think I recall.
Yes.
Draisaitl hammered it, and he's getting the rebound, and he's just keeps fighting and fighting at the side of the net for another very Hyman-like goal, putting it in that way. He really has. Boy, they're getting value for their dollar off Hyman and Nugent Hopkins this year, Bruce.
Yep.
Ken Holland must be a genius. For
Well,
everyone
he's got
across
two
the
$5 million plus forwards there, and he's got a third one in Evander Kane.
down the sheet.
And I think all of them are living up to that level of play for sure. $5 million seems like a fair price
You
for
got to go
all
through
the
your there,
things.
Bruce. It's really staticky.
For all the things those
There you
guys
go.
are doing,
Yeah.
for all the things those guys are doing, I think they're covering the bills. I think that there's issues elsewhere on the roster for sure, but sort of that second tier of strong NHL caliber forwards, and obviously they're missing Evander Kane right now, but Hyman and Nugent Hopkins continue to carry the mail.
Indeed, it's Nuge's best season, and not only on the attack, Bruce. I've often criticized Nugent Hopkins in the past. People who listened to me over the years would say he's not a strong defensive center. He should be on the wing. I'm going to eat those words. He is playing strong defensively at center this year. I've got no complaints.
He's
There was
finally found his man strength, David. I mean, he's 29 years old, and he's starting to win like strength battles, or at least his share
yeah,
of them, and he's not getting pushed around.
until he's
And
40.
yeah, yeah. And tonight he had a great shift on the 3-on-5. And one thing I've noticed they've done this year is they've dialed back on Leon's penalty kill minutes, even on the 3-on-5 that he used to specialize. And I wonder if that's to do something, presumably that ankle that people keep whispering about. But Nuge lined up on the 3-on-5 and he had a terrific shift, and he even took the puck down and spent a bunch of time down in their end of the ice ragging it down in the corner and, killing off, an extra few seconds down there. And, uh, special teams, he's a real ace for this team on both special teams.
So Hyman's
That's
third
important.
goal.
Hyman's third goal, yeah, it was just they pulled the goalie with 3 minutes left, and Oilers got the puck out once. And of course, they sent out the first line that was doing all the goal scoring tonight, and they shot it into Cece's corner, and he tried to fire it out, and Draisaitl chipped it right out of the air. There was a great end zone replay that showed it. That puck was going to the point man until Leon got a piece of it with that big paddle of his that he got so many pieces of so many pucks, and he chipped it by the defenseman and up the boards. And then it was just a race to the puck, and it looked like Roman Josi, the former Norris Trophy winning defenseman, Roman Josi, who had the inside track. And it's not like Hyman's a speedster, but he's such a dogged skater. Like, he never gives up on the puck, and he goes full speed on the puck. And in this case, he was always going to come in second in the foot race, but what came in first was his stick. And he anticipated, and he reached out and he just picked his stick, and it was officially credited in the play-by-play as a poke shot. And normally,
Sound.
Inside the blue
There we
paint,
go.
most poke shots, and this one was from like 35 feet or something, but he just reached it and chipped it, and sure enough, into the net she went for his first career hat trick. So he and his mates were pretty happy about that. I always find it interesting to see how the team reacts to a player who does something, and it's pretty clear that Zach Hyman's a very popular teammate.
Okay, I'm going to bore people with another 1970s sports reference. Zach Hyman's skating reminds me of the skating of a former Oiler who was well known to fans of Alan Mitchell, Low Tide. Hyman's skating reminds me of Stan Weir.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's a big guy like Stan, kind of a bird, square, and he's just all hustle when he skates. Nothing smooth about it,
right?
But hustling, and going hard. All arms, elbows, knees, legs, going after that puck, but getting there fast. Kind of a bigger guy, So Stan, that's my Stan Weir.
Makes a beeline for the puck is what he does, and he doesn't slow down before he gets there or when he gets there. He just is going on it, and he's just so dogged on the puck once he gets there. But in this case, it was just a matter of getting the stick in there and getting that one touch and hoping that it was on target. And sure enough, it was to finish the job on the first career hat trick. So way to go, Zach Hyman.
Stan Weir had 2 30-goal seasons for the Oilers, 31 and 33. Bruce, what's your bad thing?
Yeah, I'm going to say I wasn't real thrilled with Brett Kulak's game tonight. And I just thought he struggled. He played most of his time with Tyson Barrie and a little bit of his time with Evan Bouchard. And I've got it up here. And his time with Evan Bouchard they got outscored 2-0. Like, he was -2 on the night, and they both happened to be with Bouchard in just under 3 minutes together. Twice they were victimized for a goal. And on one of them, they
Sound. Sorry, Bruce. There you go. I think I can hear you now.
Should be working through the mic, and the mic keeps cutting out for no reason. I'm getting exasperated. It's that nice.
I can see you're getting exasperated.
This is a nice mic that we got specifically for this podcast. So, anyway, and on the one goal, they kind of got left to their own devices. But first Bouchard left his feet, and then Kulak left his feet, and they wind up just nobody actually made a play on the puck, and they were able to make a shot that went upstairs. And I just thought he was he skated good, but he was struggling to win battles. He was struggling to get the puck out of his zone, and the Oilers got clobbered in shot metrics, like 9 shot attempts to 26 when Brett Kulak was on the ice, which kind of, to me, it's not just the number, but the number that matched the eye test. Like the two kind of went together. So he didn't stink. I just didn't think he had a strong game. And so,
Yeah, I haven't liked him and Tyson Barrie in a few games now. They
mhm.
started out okay together, but man, they've been getting making a lot of mistakes on grade A shots, and they're being used together on the PK. I don't see it. I don't see it, Bruce, and I don't think I am ever going to see it. Like Tyson Barrie on the PK, I like Tyson Barrie for a
Mhm.
lot of things, even an even strength defender at this point against the right competition, but not on the PK. I think that's a really major tactical mistake, and they would be much better off even going with Philip Broberry at this point, I think, than Tyson Barrie out there. Broberry's a big rangy guy. Um, I just don't see how he's going to be worse than Barrie. And Kulak is he's fast and he's good with the puck. He's had his struggles on defense this year consistently. He's not stepped up yet at this point. He still might. My bad thing, Bruce, is one of the goals you mentioned that Kulak and Bouchard were out there for, but we didn't tag them as the primary culprits on either of them on that goal against.
Mhm.
In fact, and I don't know if they mentioned this in the broadcast or focused on this in the replay. I couldn't find a replay that really showed conclusively
They
what
didn't.
happened, but I watched it closely, and this was one of the pet peeves of the cult of hockey, the bad line change. And was this did Holloway play after that? Did he get back? I was wondering if he got
Mhm.
injured because he got a hit in his own end. And the puck goes out of the Oilers' end. Draisaitl's forechecking a bit, and both Nugent Hopkins and Holloway try to change behind Draisaitl, and the other team has full possession of the puck when they're both going off the ice. There's Nugent's line change was weak. Holloway's line change, unless he was badly injured, was atrocious,
Yeah.
and he just left them wide open. It became a 4-on-2 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, a 4-on-2 developed, and a goal resulted. So that was a wicked bad line change by Dylan Holloway. And
Yeah, Nuge put in a pretty good shift, but and it was time for a change, but he stopped skating and he sort of glided to the bench, Draisaitl style, from about the center red line to the bench, and it was second period. So the guy coming off the bench, who I think was McDavid, and he was at the forward end of the bench, so near the far blue line from where the Oilers net was. And he even had to sort of go around. He waited until Nuge got almost all the way there. He didn't jump the gun like many do. And then he had to go around Nuge a long way around. He never got in the play. And then Holloway, with Nuge already sort of committed to the change, Holloway decides this is a flat out rookie mistake. There's no other way to put it. That's at least a second type egregious line change on Holloway that's cost the team a goal this year. And this one did as well, because all of a sudden there was no center, there was no forwards in defending this attack. And like I say, it was basically a 4-on-2, and the two defenders were left to slide and dive and fall about, and neither of them was able to make the stop. So it was, but that was on the forwards, and I say especially the second guy. When you have a multiple player bad line change, whoever's the last guy to try and make the change is usually the biggest culprit. Is my take
that's the
on it.
rule. I agree. As a general rule, it's usually pretty foolproof.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, what's your number, Bruce?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to go with some amazing numbers from Edmonton's first line tonight, which are mostly good, but a little bit bad. They got all 6 of Edmonton's goals in the 6-3 win were scored by the first line, 6 out of 6, which is great for them. A little bit of sports scoring would be nice. They had 6 goals, 7 assists on the night. They had 17 of Edmonton's 37 shots on goal. The 3 players, McDavid and Hyman, tied for the team lead with 6, and Leon was third with 5 shots on net. Nobody else had more than 3. And it was just a game where that line They also dominated on shot shares. I won't give you the specifics other than they were all running in the 60 to 70% range. And with a couple of defensive foibles, I thought McDavid had a couple of iffy moments watching the puck in his own zone. But overall, I mean, that first line, this was a night where, I mean, obviously any night that they stack the first line, the Oilers need him to carry the team. But to score 6 out of 6 goals is going above and beyond. It's just a spectacular night's work by the three big scores.
Indeed. Bruce, my number is 2, and it refers to the second game in a row that Matthias Janmark has made a play, which I have noted, which really impressed the hell out of me because it's such a veteran play, and it's such a when we talk about veteran players and what they add to the team, it's this kind of play, and it's something that Dylan Holloway should pay attention to, and every young player on the team. So in both plays, the Oilers were in their own end for extended periods of time. Last game, it was a defense. The defense pairing had been out there forever, and they were just totally exhausted. And if they didn't get off the ice soon, there was going to be a goal against. And Janmark won the puck in the blue line area and got it out of the zone. And not only that, he just was so you could just see his mind working. It was, I'm going to take this puck in the offensive end, and I'm not going to give it up. I'm not going to shoot it at the goalie and have it miss the net and come careening back. Careening, right word, back at the Oilers' end. I'm not going to just give it up lightly. I'm not going to try to dump it in and have it not go anywhere, get knocked down. I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to hold it as long as I can and puck protect to give those defensemen time to get off the ice. And watching that, I just was full of admiration for the player because he's really working for his team at that moment. He's not trying to score. He's not trying to do anything. He's just trying to get that puck in a safe place so players can get off the ice and change. And that kind of awareness goes a long way in winning hockey games. And he did it again tonight. And I think it was when Ceci broke his stick or was without a stick. If I'm not mistaken, it was Ceci. And again, Hyman won the puck and advanced it up the ice and just held it. And then there was a safe pass he could make, and he made that pass. And by then, of course, Ceci had his hockey stick. So
Janmark, not Hyman.
What's that?
Janmark.
Did I say?
Yeah, you said Hyman.
Oh yeah.
The second time, but you're talking about Matthias Janmark.
I meant Janmark Nyland.
Yes.
Which is his hyphenated last name. Yeah, Janmark. Yeah, just great veteran play by Matthias Janmark. Way to go. That's the kind of play that will win the coach is over, I think, because they're paying attention.
Absolutely.
They're watching, and they know. So
I've been impressed since preseason at how solid the Janmark is along the boards and winning battles and controlling the board battles and moving the puck in the right direction. Just subtle little plays, not necessarily, point producers, but just ice tilters, And I think he's a smart player, and he's bigger than you think. Like I think he's over 200 pounds, and pretty strong and pretty smart. And it was not quite criminal, but it was a real shame that he got sent out to begin the season just because the cap crunch was so severe. But this is an NHL player through and through. And there's no reason to sort of tar him with, he's just a call-up from the AHL brush, because he should never have been sent down to the AHL without the crunch Oilers found themselves in. This is a tried and true NHL class, middle six class player. Like, I don't think you want him on your top line. On your second line's a bit of a stretch, but he's holding his own there. And on the third line, he's ace. Like, they wind up and he's on the third line in the playoffs. That's nice,
Yeah, I think he could be a really excellent player on a checking line. I think that's his real role.
Yep.
He's only got 3 points in 16 games. So, you could see some people being frustrated with him. He's one of these guys who aren't scoring, who I'm not frustrated with at all. I think he's getting the job done. Bruce, I want to add one number to your McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman. So we said the Oilers had 14 grade A shots.
Yeah.
Those 3 had 11 of the 14. So
they were the shooters?
Yeah, 11 of
Yeah.
the 14
Wow.
grade A shots came from their sticks. Hyman with 5, McDavid with 4, and Draisaitl with 2, both of which were
Mhm.
goals. So
Mhm. Yeah, and I'm going to add, here's a 1970s sports reference. 20 goals in 10 games that Leon has against Nashville. And it reminds me of the not so great but incredible Oiler killer, Peter Sullivan of the Winnipeg Jets, who in the 1978-79 WHA season scored 20 goals against the Oilers in one season. And they played 14 times. I looked that up, but my recollection is that he didn't play all the games. And I seem to recall someone like Jimmy Matheson saying he'd scored 20 goals in 10 games against the Oilers that season. And I just remember him killing Edmonton. 2 goals here, 4 goals there, every time they play. And and this was his career season, the last WHA season. And he was just one of these little water bug guys, and they just couldn't contain the son of a gun. And he got 20 goals against one team in one season, and that victim team was, in fact, your Edmonton Oilers. So,
he scored 46 goals in 80 games that year for the
yeah.
Winnipeg Jets.
Okay, well, he played all the games then. So, okay,
Yeah.
because it was an 80-game season. So, anyway, maybe it took him a while to get going. I do remember them saying 20 and 10, but he got 20 goals that season, and I saw about 12 of them because I had season tickets, and he kept killing Edmonton at the Coliseum in particular.
If you ever wondered what a WHA looked and felt like, well, tonight's game had that
Hmm.
WHA loosey goosey feel to it. WHA games were like a lot like that, where there was bad defensive plays and lots of mistakes and lots of goals.
As
And
opposed to
and
last night's game that apparently had one mistake in it, and Oilers made it and lost, and a game that was barely fit to watch, David.
yeah, I thought Connor McDavid on that particular play was actually the primary culprit with Bouchard.
Mhm.
They might have been kind of equal culprits, but McDavid was every bit as bad, like to single out Evan Bouchard, which the coach did apparently. I didn't hear the
Mhm.
interview, but it was the coach who did it. I just think they need to be careful about that. Letting make like it's a team game,
Well,
and
the coach just said it was one mistake, and I'm not sure he singled anybody out, but I know
oh, is that right?
in
Are you
the
sure?
subsequent coverage of the game, Bouchard was singled out for being the defenseman who made the mistake, even though he's a defenseman on an entry-level contract, and the forward is on the highest contract in the entire league. But apparently, it was the defenseman's fault, according to Sportsnet writer Mark Spector, who wrote about this game. And I thought he was a little harsh on Bush myself, although it's clearly, I mean, Bush made gap is an issue.
Hmm.
He didn't have the right gap at the right time, and he lost a little bit of gap on the guy. He almost took the puck off his stick, and then the guy had to take a different route to respond to where the puck went, and that kind of fooled Bouchard. And in the meantime, McDavid picked up the guy, a goal scorer, coming over the blue line. He had him, and then he let him go to watch the puck. And,
Connor will do. They did it tonight on a 5 alarm shot. He was watching the puck as it was passed into the slot, and we had the same issue where there was a wide open shot, and that's the one where Jack Michaels or Ludebrough said, "Oh, he tapped Campbell on the head, making the save." Darn right he did. It was McDavid's mistake, and Campbell saved his bacon on it. So, I mean, McDavid's a fantastic hockey player. He's a very good defensive hockey player much of the time, or a good defensive hockey player to be more accurate. But he has his slip ups, and like every other player. And your mic is now dead again, Bruce. I'm sorry to say. I can tell that. I think you got it going on now.
how about now?
That's good.
All right, one last thing we got to. I think we got to at least acknowledge Jack Campbell in this
Yeah.
podcast, who couldn't have had a worse start to this game. On a minute and 10 seconds in, he faces his first shot, and it's a 65-foot floater from the blue line. And Cody Ceci tries to play goal on it, and he does so badly. The puck goes through Ceci. Campbell never sees it, and I think it chips off of Ceci's leg and just drops a little bit. It's going about 8 miles an hour, and it just finds this little hole between Campbell's legs, and you're thinking, how is there a hole there? If you can't see the puck, you know, drop and block it, and it goes right through his legs and dribbles into the net. And I'm sure every Oilers fan in the entire Oilers nation was going variations of double palm face palm, and
I
then
just wish
oh
Bruce
my
that
God, and you know.
I hear you.
And I will give Jack Campbell huge credit. I thought he bounced back and he played, you know, not great, but I thought he played a pretty darn okay game tonight. He stopped 29 out of 32. Maybe one of the goals, maybe the one the the one coming across. I thought Skinner would have had it because just a different way he would have come across without the hole
Hmm.
in the middle on the one that.
That was a pretty tough shot,
But
though, that one
it
time.
was a hard shot, yeah.
Yeah, that was
So I mean,
bang,
it
bang.
wasn't the goalie's fault per se. I just thought maybe it could have been stopped, but I thought he bounced back and his he showed some real stick to itiveness because you know when you're looking sort of 6 or 7 minutes in the first period and they got one shot and it's already 1-0 for them and anyway, so had to get him back in there. And it was absolutely crucial that he come back and have a successful game. And in the end, he did. And he did so in the face of serious, I would almost call it trauma, the way it started for him. Like it couldn't.
I Trauma for the fans.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bruce,
Yeah.
because we were initially, I'm sure everybody, and I'm sure Twitter exploded with Campbell sucks. Like initially, it looked like it was his fault, right? Until you actually watch the slow-mo replay, and then you see, it went in off CC. Like CC deflected that in, and that's a tough play. He not only
Mhm.
deflected it in, he screened his
Totally
goal,
screened him.
totally screened his goalie, and he deflects it in. All right, I would have given like CC. I would have. I like Cody CC a lot as a hockey player. He's my spirit oiler. He's the hockey player that I model my game after as a beer league defenseman. I would have felt so much better about him though if he had just immediately turned to Jack Campbell and said, "That's on me, buddy. That was
Yeah.
me." And you know, he just hung his head. CC hung his head because he was also he just said, "Oh, geez, you know,
Yeah.
it's terrible when the puck goes in off you as a defenseman." But poor Campbell, poor Campbell having to face that,
Right.
like
Very first shot.
I
Very
know.
first shot. So I was sort of wondering, you know, is this a case where the defensemen are thinking they need to play goalie when Campbell is in there? And I was really kind of worried about that for a while, and then they started letting him see the puck a little bit, and he started making stops. And you know, like I say, he wasn't great, but he was good. And after the way that game started, it could have gone real far south. And so good on Jack Campbell for bouncing back.
So the Oilers are now 1 point behind both Seattle and LA in the division. Looks like Vegas is going to win the division this year with Seattle, LA, and Edmonton and Calgary kind of battling it out.
Hmm.
And maybe Vancouver. You never know. They might make a run. You never know. They're not that far back. They're 4 points back from Calgary. Um, so we'll see what happens. And they got a game in hand. If Vancouver wins its next two games, they'll have 31 points in 30 games, and the Oilers right now have 34 points in 30 games. Bruce, let's leave it there. And
All right.
thanks for talking tonight.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.